Hello guys, we are back with another video. This is Champion 2D Rob back again, and this time guys it is a pickups video. Yes guys, this is my pickups now for the past couple of months, and I will admit guys, like I'm way behind when it comes to pickups. Honestly, like I have got stuff that I have not shown for whatever reason, stuff that dates back to last year. But I'm not going to show you those guys because we'd be here for the next few days. So this is going to be basically my most recent of pickups. So I'd say probably the past 3 months worth, give or take. And I've got some goodies, guys. I've got a nice mix here of modern and retro as well. So let's get right into it, guys. And I think what I'm going to start with is some Switch pickups. And I'm going to start with my most recent. Well, actually, one's a PS4 game, but it's in related to. I'll just go into it anyway. So yeah, so I've got a Switch game here and a PS4 game, and anyone who knows me, guys, you know my favorite genre of game in it. So I had to definitely pick this up, and I picked up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, guys. Of course, I had to pick this up. This was a must-own. But I can't stop at one. Had to get two. Had to get two. Both on the Switch and the PlayStation 4. Why did I buy two copies? Well, I like to have the Switch version just so I can play in handheld mode. Whenever I decide to go out somewhere, at least I'll have it to hand. But I play a lot on my PlayStation 4. Now, traditionally, what I tend to do is I actually usually go for the Switch version physically, and then I'll probably download the game. If it's like a retro style game like this, I will download it digitally on the PlayStation 4 as well. But I don't know, I just decided I wanted to own it physically for the PlayStation 4 as well. So I picked up both copies. I have been loving this collection, guys. Honestly, like the games that are on here mean so much to me. Like it really goes back. In fact, one of the games, which was the original Ninja Turtles arcade game, the very first one, was actually the game that got me into beat 'em ups in the first place. Now you know how I love my beat 'em ups, guys. It's my favorite genre of game. Well, that was the game that got me started. It was the first game I ever played that was a beat 'em up. I remember seeing it as a kid. I think it was in 1989. I was in Alton Towers. I was actually on my way out. I was walking with my mum. We were on our way back to grab the coach to go home. And we were just walking past an arcade, and I remember just saying to my mum, "Oh no, let's just wait a few minutes. I want to go inside for a second." And I remember walking in there, and I saw a bunch of kids surrounding this one arcade cab, and it was, of course, the arcade game. It was the four-player one, and I was just so mesmerized by it. Unfortunately, I couldn't play it on that day because my mum was bugging me that said we had to go, otherwise we were going to miss our bus. But then, of course, about a week later or so, I would go to an arcade and I would play it for myself, and I absolutely loved it. And that was basically what started my lifelong love affair with the beat 'em up, and it just sort of grew from there. So, yeah, and of course, the original NES game also was a big influence on me. Now, I never owned it as a kid. I had an NES growing up, but I never owned that game. But my mate had it, and I used to play it a lot, so much. I love that original NES game. Just what a like. I know it has detractors. It's considered a bit of an unfair game, but I really liked it. I really liked it as a kid, and I got really far in it as well. I never completed it, but I got really far in it. So that game meant so much to me. So, and of course, on the Game Boy, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan, the first Turtles game on the Game Boy, again was a game I played so much as a kid. So there's a lot of nostalgia factor for me with a lot of these games. So yeah, this collection just means a lot to me, and it was definitely probably one of the highest sort of compilations that I sort of had on my wish list that I never thought would ever come to fruition. And here we are. So I had to get two copies just to show my support. Yeah, I was so ecstatic when they announced this. Honestly, I could not believe it because it came out of nowhere. I think, what was I watching? Was it the Nintendo Treehouse? Select, wherever, that showcase that Nintendo puts on every now and again. And then they just announced it. It came out of nowhere. Like, this hadn't been leaked, nothing. Like, it just popped up that they were going to release this, and I was so happy. So yeah, awesome. And it's also been really cool playing a lot of the games that I never got to play as a kid, like the third Turtles game, what's it called, Radical Rescue on the Game Boy. That's a game I've never played, and it actually is really cool. It's like a Metroidvania sort of game, which is really interesting. And of course, the fighting games. The one that I was most eager to try out was Tournament Fighters for the NES, because I'd never heard of that game up until a few years ago. I know it was like a very late release. I think it was probably the last game that Konami put out for the NES, and I believe it came out very late. It came out in the mid-90s. I think it came out like 94, which is very late for the NES run. But yeah, chuffed to get this in any case. So yeah. And of course, guys, you know I had to do it. The Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This is the recent beat 'em up that was developed by Tribute Games, and it is amazing. Now, you may notice that this copy is still sealed, and that is because I also own it digitally on the PlayStation 4. I've already completed it. Love it to bits. This is the collector's edition from, is it from Merge Games Signature Edition Games. So it comes with a lot, sort of like a few things here, soundtrack, CD, and a few other bits and bobs. But what an awesome game. It really was. Like, it's been so fantastic the way that 2D side-scrolling beat-em-ups has had a bit of a revival lately. And the fact that they went back and made a brand new game using the old 80s cartoon as their jumping point to create this game, it really has been fantastic, and it totally lived up. It's a brilliant beat 'em up. It really is. So chuffed to finally get this as well. So yeah, it's been great for us beat 'em up fans and us old Turtle fans as well. So yeah, chuffed with those. Moving on, let's see, more Switch games here. Oh, it's all falling over. So I will start with, I think I've got a few limited run games here. Just stuff that's come in very recently. I gotta say, guys, yeah, I've had so much limited run stuff come to me over the past few months that I've just not shown in any videos. I may show it at some point, but it's just so much of it. It just takes too long. But I'll just jump into what came to my house very recently. And one of the games I got here is Sam & Max Save the World. I believe this is a point-and-click game. And I remember the old Sam & Max cartoon back in the day, and I quite enjoyed that cartoon. And I've heard a lot of good things about the Sam & Max point-and-click games, so I wanted to give it a go. I've never played it before. I think it came out originally on the Switch, on the Wii. But looking forward to trying that out. I know there's more games in the series. So I also got from Limited Run, I actually picked up the sort of case, which is actually for 3 games. So you've got Save the World, Beyond Time and Space, and The Devil's Playhouse. So I don't have the other 2 games yet, but eventually when they do arrive, I will be able to house them in this case. Which I'm actually quite disappointed it came as a cardboard sort of flat sleeve, rather than like a thick cardboard. But it was very cheap. I also picked up a second one just in case. You never know. So they were very cheap. I think they're about like $5 a piece. So it's not expensive at all. So that's that. I also received the Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe. So this is 2 games in one. 2 action platformers that are said to be incredibly difficult, as that's very much in keeping with the Angry Video Game Nerd. It has to be something that will put you in a rage-inducing moment, which is, I think, is the whole point of it, really. But yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this a go. They just look like fun, if infuriating, platformers. Next game from Limited Run. I was very excited when they announced this because I've always wanted to play this back in the day. And finally, I'm going to get my chance on the Switch, and that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, I've always wanted to play this game from when it came back on the Xbox. Now, I was a PS2 man, never owned an original Xbox, and I won't lie, this was one of the games that I was very jealous of. It was the one game I really wanted to play. I was always hoping it would get a port somewhere else, so glad to finally get this. And yes, I do have the second one on pre-order as well, but I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. I believe this is like, because it was developed by, I think BioWare developed this, and I loved the Mass Effect game, so I imagine this plays very similar to the Mass Effect games. I know this came out before Mass Effect, but I imagine it has a very similar play style, so I'm sure I'll love it because I love the Mass Effect game. So yeah, chuffed to get that one. And another game here I got from Limited Run, and that is, I have to read the side because it's one of those hard ones to pronounce, and that is Mushishime-sama. So this is a shooter, and I know this originally came out on Xbox 360 and also PlayStation 2, but only in Japan. So this is basically a bullet hell shooter. So I've been aware of this game, but I've never played it, so I thought I'd give it a go. I will admit, I'm not really a big fan of bullet hells. I prefer more conventional shooters, but I don't know, this one looks visually very interesting to me. Sometimes that's what really appeals to me, is the visuals. Like if it has a interesting art design, interesting characters, sometimes that is enough to get me on board. So yeah, looking forward to that. And the next limited run stuff, and this is basically all the same thing, but once you see it, guys, you'll know why. And I picked up, of course, the Castlevania collection. So this is the classic edition. So this basically has all the Castlevania games from the 8-bit and 16-bit era, including the Game Boy games as well. Konami have just been knocking it out of the park with their compilations. I mean, the latest one with Turtles, of course this, and the Contra collection as well. It's been fantastic. So yeah, I definitely had to get this. But of course, you know me, guys, it's not going to stop there when it comes to Castlevania. Also picked it up for the PlayStation 4 as well. And I don't even need them, to be honest, because I have them digitally on the PlayStation 4 and the Switch. But that's only because I couldn't wait, and I had to play the games. When they announced it, I had to own them. Just love playing these games so much. Yeah, Castlevania 4, Castlevania Bloodlines, or the New Generation, as I knew it as. Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge on the Game Boy is fantastic. Do you know what? I was really happy that they put the Game Boy games on there. I know the first game and the third game aren't seen very favorably, but I actually enjoyed playing them as a kid, so I was glad that they were on there. And Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge is definitely the best of the three. But yeah, chuffed to get this. But it doesn't stop there, guys. Of course I had to do it. I got the anniversary limited super edition. What is it called? This one has a light up thing here. It's got music. It's got the soundtrack. And there's something in here rattling that's making me nervous. But yeah, I haven't opened it, but definitely had to get this. I honestly wasn't sure what to get. I may move on this one. I'm probably going to move this one at some point. Because this is basically in there as well, this version. But yeah, really chuffed to get this. This is just amazing. I'll be honest with you, I don't normally go for a lot of collector editions or these super collector editions from Limited Run. For the most part, I tend to find them as just very overpriced, and a lot of the times the games don't really warrant it. But in this case, had to get it. Castlevania it's just Castlevania for me. It's just one of those series. It just means so much to me. I played the NES games as a kid. Played the 16-bit games as a kid, and I also played the 32-bit games as well. You know, I pretty much followed the series as I've grown up, and the ones on this collection are just, for me, just the best games. The only one I think is missing that I think needs to be re-released, is Castlevania Rebirth. That was only released digitally on the Wii. I love playing that. It's actually probably the only reason I still have my Wii hooked up. Is I play that game a lot. Don't get me wrong, the Wii's got, but I'm going off on a tangent now. But yeah, very chuffed to get this. So yeah, happy as Larry with that. Okay, let's move all this. Still got some stuff to go. Couple more Wii games. Next one I've got here is Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series. Again, Klonoa, the first Klonoa game. I played the demo of it back in the day. I don't know why I never bought it. I never bought the game back in the day. I played the demo, really enjoyed it as back in the 90s. I also had the sequel on the PlayStation 2, which is also a great game. So this basically has both games in one. The only thing I think that's lacking in this collection would have been the Game Boy Advance games. Those games need to be played, guys. They're just so good. So it's a real shame that they were ignored, because they're great games. But these two games are so much fun. And if you've not played a Klonoa game, guys, do yourselves a favor and pick up this collection. It really is fantastic. So yeah, really chuffed to get that. And the last Switch game I picked up, this had to be bought as well. Man, these collections, man, they've just been off the chain. And this one here is the Capcom Fighting Collection. And this game has just basically got all the Darkstalkers games. You've got Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition. You've got Super Puzzle Fighter 2, Super Gem Fighter, Cyberbots, and the game that I was most excited for, and that is Red Earth. Man, I was so chuffed with this collection. I mean, if you're a Darkstalkers fan, you're going to be well treated here. But the game that I was itching to play was Red Earth. Red Earth was a 2D fighter that never got a home port. For whatever reason, it never got a home port. It's quite a different game as well. Like it's sort of a fighting game / RPG. I know that might be a dirty word to some fighting fans, but no, it really isn't. It's a fighting game. But essentially, rather than like being your typical fighter where you get like a sizable roster of characters, you only really get to pick, I think, 4 characters. And it's very story driven. And I think you can also level up. I could be wrong. I don't quite remember. My memory's for shit. But it's definitely a bit more different than your conventional 2D fighter. But visually, it's fantastic. Love playing it. The gameplay's solid. And of course, you've got all the Darkstalkers games. And I absolutely love the Darkstalkers series. Played it, owned it on the original PlayStation 1. Played it in the arcades back in the day. Loved those games. You can never go wrong with them. Gem Fighter is such a underrated game. It really is. Love playing it. I own it on the Japanese Saturn. It's a fantastic game. Definitely play it. It did come out in PAL territories, but only on the PlayStation. Well worth getting, guys. And of course, Super Puzzle Fighter 2, a very fun. Is it like Puyo Puyo? It's kind of like that game, but it's like with gems. Really fun though. Really good game. And of course, you've got Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition, which is basically another souped up version of Street Fighter 2. Definitely worth owning, guys. But yeah, this is an amazing collection. It's what really bothered me though is that this never came out here in Europe, man. They had to basically import this. This is a pricey collection to get. It's cost me 50 quid. I don't like paying them kind of prices. God damn it. All right, guys, moving on. Got 2 more PlayStation 4 games here very quickly. First one here is Doom Eternal. This is my most recent game I picked up. I got it for very cheap. It cost like 9 quid. Had to pick it up. I've heard a lot of good things about the Doom games. I own the first one on PlayStation 4 digitally. I picked it up in a sale, but this was hard to pass up. I'm not really big on first-person shooters, but I do have a soft spot for Doom. You know, I played it back in the day. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this one a go because I've just heard it's really, really good. So, excited for that. And this is a game I've been wanting to pick up for ages, but I was waiting for it to drop in price because didn't want to pay full price for it. And that is Guilty Gear Strive. This game is amazing. It is amazing. Beautiful visual style to it. Excellent 2D visuals. And I've got to say, Arc System Works, I love what they're doing with their modern 2D fighters. I kind of wish Capcom would have taken a leaf out of their book because they have a great visual style where it's 2D, but they are using 3D polygons, but they're made to look like 2D graphics. So they can still have all the benefits of having the camera pan around them and stuff, you know, but still keeping that 2D aesthetic look, which I must admit is I never liked with the current Street Fighter games. They just look ugly to me. Like, I mean, they're fun to play, don't get me wrong, but this is the look I prefer. If you're gonna do modern 2D aesthetic, but of course, you know, creating a 3D environment, I think this was the way to go. So props to you, Arc System Works, for delivering a beautiful and fun game. Very interesting characters. This is a great one. So yeah, chuffed to get that. I think I paid 20 quid for this, brand new and sealed, so chuffed for that. Okay, and finally, I've got two retro games here. Well, one is retro-ish and the one is retro. So the retro game I picked up here, this is for the Saturn. And this game, unfortunately, it did not make my last Saturn pickups video because it came a day after I shot that video. So this game didn't make it, but it's one I was very happy to get because surprisingly, while this game is not really rare in the PAL territories, the Japanese version, it doesn't come up a lot. And when it does come up, it's actually very expensive. So I was fortunate enough that this one came up on UK eBay and for a very, very reasonable price compared to what it was being asked, the asking price in Japan. And the game I'm talking about is Bug. So yeah, a very nice clean copy. And it does come with the spine card as well. Very chuffed. I believe I paid 50 quid for this game, which compared to what I see it usually go for, usually I see it for about 80 to 90 pound. So when I saw it go for 50, I just nabbed it, and it was in superb condition. And I didn't have to import it either, which is a bonus. Really chuffed to get this one. I did pick up the sequel first, but I must admit I do prefer the original. I don't know why, I just prefer the original game. I've always wanted to play this game, even back in the day. I remember seeing the ads for it on for the PAL Saturn back in the day. I found it to be a very interesting, because it's sort of like, it's 3D, but it's not. It's a 2.5D platform game. And I've just always found it a very interesting one that I've always wanted to try. Never got around to it, so I'm glad I'm finally getting the chance to do so now. So yeah, nice one for the collection. And the very last thing I'm going to show you guys is something a little bit special here. I've been waiting for this for a while. And it's a game for the Megadrive, but it's actually a modding game. So this game came out not that long ago. And I've owned it digitally on my Switch, but it was actually made for the Megadrive. So I actually got this collector's edition. Now, when the game was originally announced, I wasn't that excited for it. I mean, it looks cool, don't get me wrong. It's a 2D action platformer. It looks great, but it wasn't until I actually downloaded it on the Switch and actually played it for a bit when I realized how good the game actually was. Now, Pete on a retro tip made a video about this game. He played the initial demo of this, and it looked awesome. But it wasn't until I played it myself that I was convinced. And once I played it on the Switch, I had to own it for the Megadrive. I had to. Certain games, I will go out of my way and buy the Megadrive versions if they are available. There are some games I don't think, for the most part, there are a lot of games that I don't think are worth it. The ones that I do, like Paprium, for example, you know, that game is definitely worth owning physically for the Megadrive. But this is definitely another one in my opinion. Oh, Xeno Crisis again is another game I think is worth owning for the Mega Drive as well. But I'm very happy to get this game. And I'm going to show you the outer box first, but then we'll go into the contents and I'll show you what the game actually is. So this is from Neofid Studios. So this is the collector's edition that I've been waiting for, and I am going to open it up for you guys and tell you what game it is. Some of you will already know what it is, but the game is, if I can take it out, Demons of Asterberg. So this is a very cool 2D action platformer, and this is a game that I adore it. I played it on the Switch so much, and this is the collector's set, and it's even signed by the developer. So very, very chuffed to get this. Lovely, lovely condition. I'm not going to take it out, but I do believe, yes, it does have a reversible cover. But what an awesome game. These, for me, I mean, I've never been that excited to buy new games for old systems, you know? I mean, I don't mind them making games with that Mega Drive or Super Nintendo aesthetic for modern consoles, but going back to like create games for the old systems, I'm never that excited for them, but every once in a while one does come out that really excites me. And so far there's only been two. Like I mentioned, Paprium, Xeno Crisis, those two for me were very special games, and this is another one. Had to own it. What a game. It really is an amazing game. I'll show you what else came with this. So obviously you've got the game itself with the manual and everything. It also comes with this sort of metallic sword, which I believe is the weapon that you use in the game. It's quite weighty as well. Like, this is not plasticky. This is actually quite a weighty little knick-knack. And I'll just take this out. It also comes with some postcards, and some other bits. I haven't taken them out here. Some other cards and stickers and whatnot. So we've got that. And the final piece here, there's like this really nice cloth. I can show you here of the world. Very nice. I'll sort that out later. And that's basically it. That's what it really comes with. It wasn't that much more expensive, but yeah. But I fell in love with the game, and it's awesome. So really, really happy to get this. This actually took a while as well. I had to pre-order this, and for a moment I actually forgot all about it. It kind of, because I didn't get a confirmation notice. All I knew that it said it was going to come out around June. But you know, I never got a shipping notice to let me know that it was coming. It just sort of showed up. I'd completely forgotten all about it, and it just showed up one day. So yeah, very, very happy to get that. So that is it, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching this whole video. If you did, guys, and of course, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm only doing that because I know it annoys some people. That's the only reason why I did that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will be back very soon. I just filmed a video prior to this. It was my top 5 most played games, so check that out if you haven't watched it already. Then of course I did this, and I'm going to be making another video as well very soon, so I shouldn't be leaving you without content. There will be some steady content coming out, hopefully, if I can, if I don't get too lazy, if I don't get too tired, because I work a lot and I have to earn money, because if I don't earn money, I can't buy games. If I can't buy games, I can't make these pickup videos, and I can't do, you know, it's a cycle, it's just a thing. And like, I got bills to pay, and I know, you have to work. Life gets in the way, guys. Life gets in the way. Why can't I just have games sent to my house and I have to pay for it? Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, cheers, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.